In Blender, we use keyframes to animate stuff. The internet tells us that a keyframe in animation and filmmaking is a drawing that defines the starting and end points of any smooth transition. So, here we have this bowling pin chilling in his crib, and I want to make him go across the screen. So, what I'll do is I split the screen just so I can see what's going on here. And I want him to start where he's at, so I insert a keyframe by pressing I. And I choose, in this case, just location, because I'm not going to rotate him at all. But what I want to do next is find how long it is that it's going to take for this transition to happen. Right now I've got my animation is doing right around 30 frames per second, the 29.97 frames per second. So I want him to cross that distance in 2 seconds. So I'm going to go basically 60 frames, and I want him to cross that in 2 seconds. So what I do is go to my top view here. I drag him over there. And I hit I to insert a location keyframe. And the first one was where it's at. The second one is where I want him to be. And everything else will be extrapolated automatically by Blender. So Blender doesn't have to track everything in between, just the 2 keyframes, and that's it. So if I run it, or start the animation in my view screen here, Alt-A will do that. Oh, look at that. He's going across the room there in his living room. That's wondrous. So the next thing, I want him to go to where he was at there, and then after, say, a third of a second, I want him to say something. And in this case, I already have a thing ready for that. So I'm going to select that thing, which is up here. You can't see it. But I'm going to insert the keyframe, location, and then I'm going to move 1 frame ahead. Then I'm going to bring it down so that I can see it. Oh, look at that. It's a little talk bubble. Then I'm going to insert a location keyframe again and leave it there. So he moves over here. About a third of a second later, he says, "I'm a bowling pin." That's it. So if I hit Alt-A to run it again, or rather start the animation, "I'm a bowling pin. I'm a bowling pin. I'm a bowling pin." That's it. Keyframes are just the starting point and the end point of what is changing. If I take this chair, say I take the guy, and I go back to this keyframe, and sometime after he starts to, actually, I want to psych myself out. I want the chair to be facing a different direction when the bowling pin passes. So this right here, I start right here. I'm going to insert I'm going to select my chair. I'm going to insert a rotational keyframe. Then the very next frame, I'm going to go over here and rotate it this way. And if the audience doesn't see it, well, that's on them. So I'm going to insert a rotation keyframe. And you can see the chair is facing this direction, or to the middle of the room. Then when the bowling pin passes, now all of a sudden it's facing towards the camera. It's like a little switcheroo that happened there. So that was a rotational keyframe. Now, just for the heck of it, I'm also going to insert another keyframe from the very beginning. My chair has a material that's brown. Okay? So I'm going to insert a keyframe on the color, right? And then towards the end, right as the talk bubble happens, is right there, right at that frame right there, I'm going to change the keyframe to something else, like a green. So now my chair is going to gradually go to green. Insert keyframe. So I have a keyframe where the chair was brown, and I have a whoopsie. And a keyframe where the chair is green. So over here, the color is brown. If I go right here, it's going to be somewhere between brown and green, which is this weird puke color. But it extrapolates that based on the in-betweens of the keyframes. And almost anything can be keyframed in Blender. Like if I was trying to blur the camera, I could keyframe the amount of blur that's available in post-processing. Or, like I said, colors here, the rotation of something, the location of something, the scale of something. Okay? So if I go over here to where the bowling pin statement is there and the chair is turned green, I'm going to insert a scale keyframe, and over here I'm going to scale this down, scale 0.1. Oh, undo that because I don't like that. Scale 0.1. And now it's ultra tiny. So I'm going to insert a scaling keyframe now, and you'll see that the chair just shrinks out of view. So the chair turns brown, or turns green from brown, and then it just disappears out of view after the bowling pin says that he's a bowling pin. So basically that's how keyframes work. And that is about all I'm going to say about it. Thank you for watching.